Hi everyone, my name is Risha. Today is the 29th of December 2025 and I'll be going over my weekly analysis for the S&P 500's ETF, tradable ETF, so the SPY. As usual, I'll be going over the monthly, weekly, and finally the daily charts, and then I'll switch over to the Excel sheet where we'll review the last predictions and go over this one in more detail. But before getting into this video, it's important to make the disclaimer that all information here is completely educational. Therefore, it is important to conduct your own analysis, whatever analysis that may be, to ensure that you're comfortable with the risk, reward, and trading style, since you may not be with mine. So, with that out of the way, let's get into this video. So, on the monthly charts, we can see, first of all, that there's been a phenomenal rally in 2025, and we are nearing the end of the year now. So, we see that on the monthly charts, there's not really much to worry about. The volume looks to be increasing. RSI is good. Although overbought, we see that typically when this happens, there is usually a correction. We see this time and time again. It does go back down, but right now we don't necessarily have too much to be worried about, especially in the very short term until the end of the year, because typically in the last week of the trading year, stocks tend to rally quite heavily due to Christmas and New Year coming around, bullish sentiment all the way. So, but yeah, on the wider scheme of things, yeah, definitely this is something to look out for. RSI is overbought. That is actually a negative sign. Here, in the weekly charts, we see a similar pattern. However, what is interesting here is that we keep sort of meandering around the highs of this Bollinger Band. Now, and although it hasn't broken or anything, we do have some stuff to look at. For example, here, RSI is confirming this price movement. So if we look here, if I add this indicator here, the percent B indicator, then we see something very interesting. So whenever this indicator crosses above here, this is when, above the 1 mark specifically, we start to see a sort of indication that mean reversal is going to happen. We can see this time and time again. You see when it crosses below the 0 threshold, that's when we see another interesting signal there as well. And this happens every time. You see when this goes here, we see a reversal upwards. And every time, generally speaking, you want to think of it as every time these crosses these thresholds, you're looking at sort of a potential mean reversal. So although it hasn't broken yet, again, if it does overextend too much, we will know, right? So that's what we see. So nothing too crazy on that end. Weekly charts, are sort of confirming what we're seeing in the wider monthly charts as well. Volume is a little, abrupt. Although the last session, to be fair, was very light. Just coming off of Christmas, so there's not really much information to move the markets. That's why. So it was nothing too crazy this last week. So that's why this is kind of a dull week. Not really any particular direction movement. We see this last candle here is virtually non-existent, and the Bollinger Band we're sort of wobbling around. The RSI does confirm it again. On the daily scheme of things, we see volume declining, as I said earlier. This is because of the holidays. So yeah, that's what we see on the charts. SPY will buy if it crosses 692 and sell if it falls below 677.15 with a target of 1% and a 0.5% trailing stop loss. If neither are hit, then we go close on Friday. The weekly and monthly trend are up. That's all for this video. Thank you for watching. Enjoy, and I'll see you in the next video.